Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you did read the title right. You did. You read the title of this video correctly. And I have statements to back this up. So, in this video, I'm going to be explaining to you guys the problem with today's WWE. Now, I personally enjoy every show that WWE has been putting on over the past couple of weeks/months. But a lot of people haven't. And I think I've found out the reason. And I got this reason from Triple H doing an interview with ESPN where he would explain a lot of reasons leading up to SummerSlam on not only what he thinks about the matches, but about the superstars going into those matches. And he would say a lot that pointed me in the direction of that's the reason people are not super intrigued in WWE right now. So let's hop into it. Paul Triple H Levesque. He would say that it is up to Oba Femi what he wants to do, and that he sees a lot in Oba Femi. But you would think, okay, that's not too bad. But no, he would go on to say that veterans only get to call their shots on what they want to do. So now it kind of trips into some biasy there. If you are so intensely and see so much in a superstar that you are willing to give them the veteran treatment, that's going to cause a stir up in the creative for sure. And he would go on to talk about Brock Lesnar too, and he would say that Brock knows when the right time to retire is, and he don't have to tell me. Is this guy going to backseat? Is this guy going to be a backseat boss? I don't know what's going on here. I think this whole situation, this whole interview was just horrible because everything that he said pointed into him being a horrible boss for WWE. And you guys know, I normally love to say good things about WWE, but this one, man, I couldn't let this one fly over. Because we're seeing Triple H give Oba Femi the favoritism treatment, which I did not want to happen. Y'all know the one thing that I asked for whenever Oba Femi came onto the main roster, I said, with Javon, Trick, and Oba, don't give them the favoritism treatment and let them work their way up. And it's very clear that Oba's gotten the favoritism treatment. He's facing Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam in a Hell in a Cell, facing the guy that's beat Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match, but you're going to put Oba against him. He should have just retired at WrestleMania, but we got past that part, and now we're on to SummerSlam. We're on to part 3. So, I think that the main problem with WWE, after what I'm seeing currently, is that it is just straight up favoritism coming from creative. Now, we are having Michael Hayes run creative, which that's your first problem. That's your very first problem. And I think we've all kind of noticed ever since Road Dogg left, SmackDown hasn't been near as enjoyable. But whenever you have Michael Hayes putting in his change and creative, and him getting what he wants every single time, because he called Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble, and he called Travis Scott coming in to help at WrestleMania, there's a lot of things that Michael Hayes has called, and pretty much every single one the fans and social media has absolutely bashed. So, Triple H saying this, he's just completely leaked himself and the company. Because he has the top say in what happens in creative. So now we're figuring out that the guy who's getting booked the most on Monday Night Raw, in Oba Femi, he is getting favoritism? I don't know. I can't let this one slide, fellas. I can't. I know this might be a little bit of a short video. There's not much to talk about. But that's the problem. The problem is favoritism. The problem is creative looking at certain superstars and saying, hey, I see a lot in you, so we're going to give you exactly what you want. That's the problem. The problem is WWE looking at superstars and seeing that they have potential and shooting them to the moon. We saw it with Charlotte Flair. We saw it with Roman Reigns. We saw it with a lot of superstars. And this is part 2. So I don't like this because I mean we look at the roster. We have superstars like Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, the people would debate that are neck to neck talent wise with Oba Femi. Now I see what Paul is saying. Paul is saying that Oba's been doing this for such a short amount of time that whenever he gets to his peak, he's going to be something massive. And we all agree with that. We know Oba is going to be one of the greatest. But you have Ilya Dragunov, Carmelo Hayes. There are a bunch of women too. Roxanne Perez. You tie those women and those men up in factions. You tie them back in catering while the show's going on, and you pretty much put them in this cage until it's too late for them to have in-ring matches that are good. Because what's going to happen is Roxanne Perez is going to get out of the Judgment Day whenever she's near the end of her career, and this sounds like a silly statement, but I believe it. There's no shot Roxanne gets out of the Judgment Day in the next 4 years. The way things are going right now, unless Roxanne turns on the Judgment Day to win the IC title away from Raquel, that's the only way she's gonna get away from it. So, I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be something crazy. But the fact that Triple H says this on a ESPN show right before SummerSlam, and pretty much mentioning that the favoritism is kind of the reason why Oba's getting these spots, and that Oba is pretty much getting counted as a veteran whenever it comes to creative because he gets to call his own shots. What superstars do we know that gets to call their own shots? You don't see Trick, Carmelo, Javon, Penta. You don't see anybody like that calling their shots. It's Brock, Roman, Cody, Punk. It's those type of guys that calls their shots and gets the ability to call their shots because they are at the top of the company. And Oba's at the top of the company. But he hasn't even been on the main roster for a year. How are you going to let a guy that hasn't even been on the main roster for a year not only get to call his own shots, but get to choose whether or not he gets to keep facing Brock Lesnar? And also, in this interview, he mentioned that Oba Femi is fine with facing Brock Lesnar 3 times in a row. So, after this, man, go ahead and give him 20 titles like Charlotte Flair, because it's gonna get ugly. I hope you guys know, after this Brock and Oba feud, man, Oba's going to win like 30 championships. It's going to be literally carnage on the roster. And I say that because this is kind of the same treatment that Charlotte was getting at the start of her career, except for it was down in NXT, which the same thing Oba came up with was in NXT, and then she got to the main roster. She won the Women's Championship, and this is what we're about to see. We're about to see Oba get done with Brock and instantly win a world title. He's coming after Roman, and we already saw that. He said at the press conference of WrestleMania 42 that he's coming after Roman Reigns after defeating Brock. Then Brock, the shadow of Brock came back to Oba, and Oba had to handle it again. Oba's going to beat him at Hell in a Cell. We pretty much already know this. Brock's probably going to retire in Minneapolis because that's his hometown. So he's probably going to retire, and there it is. Oba's going to go and beat Roman probably, and that's just going to be what it's going to be, because then we're going to get LA Knight, we're going to get Solo Sikoa, we're going to get Royce Keys to help him out with the bloodline, and it's going to be this whole thing for Oba to win the title. Thank you for listening to my rant in today's video. We might have another long-form video coming today. Also, if you guys are interested in watching me on Twitch, it's CZV on Twitch. We talk wrestling, we watch wrestling matches, we watch wrestling interviews, all types of stuff, and go check that out. But we'll probably post a lot more today, so be tuned, and I will see y'all boys in the next one. Let me know down below, is this a problem with creative? Let me know down below, and I'll see y'all boys in the next one. Deuces, ooses.